Welcome to Property Report UK, the channel where we break down the stories shaping Britain's housing market and explain what they really mean for homeowners, buyers, and investors across the country. For many people in the UK, buying a home is the single biggest financial decision of their lives. It represents years of sacrifice, careful planning, and relentless saving. And for first-time buyers especially, the moment they finally step onto the property ladder can feel like the reward for a decade of hard work. But today's report looks at a side of the housing market that doesn't always appear in glossy brochures or beautifully staged show homes. It's a growing debate around the quality, design, and long-term costs of modern new-build housing developments across Britain. Because while new homes promise efficiency, convenience and a fresh start, many buyers say the reality can be far more complicated. Imagine the situation. You and your partner have spent years saving every spare pound you can. Holidays were cancelled. Nights out became rare. That old car in the driveway kept running a little longer because replacing it would have delayed your savings goal. Eventually, after years of discipline, you reach the milestone you've been working toward, a deposit large enough to finally buy your own home. You arrive at a brand new housing development on the edge of town. The streets are freshly paved. The houses look modern and attractive. Everything feels clean, quiet and full of promise. Inside the show home, the presentation is flawless. Soft lighting, elegant furniture, spotless kitchen appliances, and neatly arranged rooms create the image of an ideal lifestyle. The sales team walks you through the property, explaining the benefits, energy efficiency, modern insulation, and the reassurance of a structural warranty lasting up to 10 years. It feels like the start of a new chapter. The contracts are signed. The mortgage is approved. Months later, the keys are finally in your hand. But for some buyers, the experience of living in a new-build home begins to reveal a series of surprises that were not obvious during the buying process. Across the UK, a growing number of homeowners have raised concerns about construction quality in modern developments. And while not every new build suffers from these issues, the topic has become a major point of discussion among property experts, surveyors and homeowners alike. One area often mentioned is the way modern houses are constructed compared with older British homes. If you walk through a Victorian terrace or a semi-detached home built in the 1930s, you will often find thick masonry walls and traditional plastering techniques that required considerable time and craftsmanship. These properties were built slowly, sometimes taking months for individual phases of work to properly dry and settle. Modern construction methods, however, prioritize speed and efficiency. Developers today operate in a highly competitive environment where building projects must be completed quickly to meet demand and financial targets. To achieve that, newer construction techniques are widely used across the industry. One example frequently discussed by surveyors is a method known as dot and dab plasterboard installation. Instead of applying wet plaster directly onto brickwork, large sheets of plasterboard are fixed to internal block walls using adhesive. This method significantly reduces construction time, allowing homes to be finished much faster than traditional plastering would allow. From a building perspective, it is a recognized method used across the construction industry. But some homeowners say it can create practical challenges inside the home. For example, mounting heavy items such as large televisions, shelves, or mirrors may require specialist fixings designed to reach the blockwork behind the plasterboard. Without the right fittings, standard wall plugs can struggle to support significant weight. Another topic often raised by homeowners involves sound insulation. Modern building regulations require specific acoustic standards, particularly between adjoining homes such as semi-detached houses or terraces. However, if insulation or ceiling work is not carried out precisely during construction, sound can travel more easily between rooms or neighboring properties. This has led to complaints from some residents who say everyday household noise travels more clearly than they expected. Again, these issues do not affect every development, but they highlight a broader conversation about workmanship, construction practices, and the pressure placed on building teams to complete projects quickly. That pressure often becomes most intense near the end of a financial reporting period for large development companies. At those moments, there can be a strong incentive to complete and hand over homes as quickly as possible. And that leads us to another concept that many new build buyers encounter shortly after moving in: the snagging list. A snagging list is essentially a document where homeowners record any defects or unfinished work they discover after moving into a new property. These can range from cosmetic issues like paintwork imperfections to more serious problems involving fittings, plumbing, or insulation. In theory, developers are responsible for addressing these problems once they are reported. But in practice, homeowners sometimes describe the process as slow and frustrating. Communication delays, repeated inspections, and long waiting times for repairs can leave families feeling as though they are managing an unfinished property rather than enjoying a brand new home. Another debate within the UK property market concerns the size of modern homes. According to several housing studies, the average floor space of new-build homes in Britain is smaller than in many other developed countries. Developers often build more homes on a given piece of land in order to meet demand and maintain project viability. As a result, rooms in newer houses can feel compact compared with older properties. Interior designers staging show homes often use carefully selected furniture and lighting to present the space as efficiently as possible. When buyers move in with standard-sized furniture, some discover that rooms feel more crowded than they initially expected. Outside the home, gardens on new developments have also become part of the discussion. In some cases, the soil beneath newly laid turf can contain heavily compacted ground left behind after construction work. If drainage hasn't been carefully managed, this can sometimes lead to water pooling during periods of heavy rain. While landscaping improvements can usually solve the issue, it may involve additional cost and effort for homeowners. But perhaps one of the most controversial topics currently discussed in the UK housing market is something known as leasehold. Traditionally, when you bought a freehold house in Britain, you owned both the property and the land it sits on, while the local council maintained roads, street lighting, and shared public areas. However, on many modern housing estates, these shared spaces are managed privately rather than by the council. Homeowners may therefore be required to pay an estate management charge to maintain roads, landscaping, playgrounds, or drainage systems on the development. These fees are sometimes relatively small at first, but critics argue that, because there is no universal cap on these charges, they can rise over time. Mortgage lenders and property lawyers have increasingly paid attention to these arrangements, and the issue has become part of wider policy discussions about housing regulation in Britain. For buyers navigating this complex market, property experts often emphasize a few key steps. Independent legal advice is essential during the purchase process. A solicitor who is fully independent from the developer can carefully review the contract, identify any long-term financial obligations, and explain them clearly before completion. Professional snagging inspections are another option many buyers now consider. Specialist inspectors can examine a property in detail and provide a report highlighting issues that might otherwise go unnoticed. Ultimately, the UK's housing market remains one of the most important economic sectors in the country. Developers play a crucial role in delivering the homes Britain needs, but buyers also need clear information so they can make confident, informed decisions. And that's exactly why conversations like this are becoming more common. Because understanding the realities of modern property development, both the benefits and the potential risks, helps buyers protect their investment and plan for the future. Here at Property Report UK, our goal is to bring you clear, balanced analysis of the forces shaping Britain's housing market, from mortgage trends and policy changes to the real experiences of homeowners across the country. If you've recently bought a new build home in the UK, we'd genuinely like to hear about your experience. Did the property meet your expectations? Or were there surprises after moving in? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story could help other viewers make more informed decisions. And if you found this report useful, make sure to subscribe to Property Report UK, give the video a like, and stay tuned for more in-depth updates on the British housing market. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next report.